Hello there, Midnight Charlie Man Patrick. It's the 18th of June 2024, 12:06 p.m. and I've decided to make this video. I decided to do it. A bit of a traumatic experience. I didn't know if I was going to talk about it. The thing is, in Los Angeles, there was more that happened in Los Angeles than I had mentioned. However, I had decided to leave it alone, so to speak. And I thought, you know what, if I just put it down, if I film it, whether I upload it or not, because I know that Michelle has moved on from it, I have too. But there was some other things that happened. We helped out some homeless people. And so what happened, May 7 we arrived, and I went for a walk along Hollywood Boulevard. Very surreal, very exciting, and I took a long walk along actually to halfway to Laurel Canyon and back. Now what happened was, we didn't have the power adapters yet. We didn't have them. And we ended up waking up late on the 8th. I think we had a bit of jet lag. Meant to get up early, didn't. So, May 8, we ventured down to Sunset first, to T-Mobile, and then we walked up to Hollywood Boulevard. And on Hollywood Boulevard, I noticed a Target. Went into Target. Found that Targets are very different over there. Target. Found the adapter section, and found the travel adapter. It was like $60 Australian, and I said, I'll get it later because I don't want to carry this around with me. Probably should have got it then and there, but you know, we're gonna. So what we ended up doing was had a stroll down Hollywood Boulevard, got to Highland Avenue, very exciting, and we went up top of the Kodak Centre, saw the view of the Hollywood sign. And then I wanted to walk up Highland and onto Kawunga, retrace my steps from yesteryear. So we did that, although I got a bit mixed up, I got my bearings wrong. So we come back down to Highland and walked along Hollywood Boulevard further. That was great, it was terrific and interesting. About 10 p.m. we got back to is that window closed? I just like to be closed, isn't it? Oh, it's alright. About 10 p.m. we got back to Target. Because I don't think it closed until 11 p.m. or something. Went back to Target, but we had to go through the side entrance. We got into Target, found the travel adapter. Michelle was looking for a couple of other items, and then there was this mirror. And I just like to check myself sometimes, and I looked in the mirror because I was wearing my fancy pants. I was wearing these. Do you like these? I just keep my toe on the chair. These are the latest. I'm working on them. Do you like them? They're hand sewn. They're hand stitched. I just whacked my foot on the chair leg again. I've just whacked my foot on it. It's a bit unpleasant. Look at myself in the mirror for about 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, right? And then as I turn around, this guy says, "You look great. You look cool. You look great." And it caught me off guard. I'm like, thanks. Thank you. And he said, no. He said, yeah, you look really cool. And he got a bit chatty with me. And I didn't realise that he was sweet talking us. And then he sort of went down to a lower voice and said, he said, "Can you help me out?" He said, "I'm not doing so well. Can you please help me out?" So I clued into that. Ended up giving him pretty much after a couple of minutes, ended up giving him about $50. I gave him about $50. Michelle and myself gave him about $50 for a new pair of sneakers. And I thought, right, well, it was my idea was to get the travel adapter, go to the liquor store, buy a Budweiser and a Budweiser for myself, margarita for Michelle, and we're going to go back to the apartment, relax, chuckle, and enjoy a beverage. And what happened was, so I said, right, I said, I'm going to go to the register and get this. And I did so. This guy's name was Austin, 24 years of age, Austin, from Texas. And 24 years of age, he didn't have a thick Texas accent at all, not at all. His name was Austin. And he wasn't making the wisest of decisions. I waited outside. And about 8 minutes later they came out, and Michelle had bought him some items, and Michelle is very charitable in that way, and I just realised I haven't deleted those previous files, I don't think, so this might be not on memory. I sometimes forget to do that. Michelle comes outside. She said, I've offered Austin to stay at ours for the night. And I'm like, ugh. And then I thought, well, people have helped me out in the past, but I needed help, and there was a bit of a standoff. I became a bit moody, and then I thought, but I can't look weak in front of Austin. Anyway, I said I needed a few minutes with myself. Anyway, we took him in for the night. We walked back to our apartment. We took him in for the night. Everything was a bit awkward, a bit strange, a bit awkward. And he told us of his movements over the past 3 months, and that he'd met a lot of strange people, and some people had taken him in for a few nights who were quite weird, and he had felt unsettled. And I've been thinking to myself, I just wanted to be sitting back with Michelle with a beverage tonight and having a relax and a chuckle and a few laughs and just taking it easy. And instead, we've got this guy, Austin, and he had sort of shortish black hair. He had some face tattoos that he had acquired, a face tattoo, and he thought he looked like a warrior, and they just made him look stupid. And he said, no, I got this done 5 months ago. He said, I wanted to look like a warrior, and I was like, you don't look like a warrior. In fact, it's probably going to cost you about $2,000 to have that lasered off. And so, am I on record? I always have to make sure I'm on record. And so, just going to get comfortable here. Is that on? And then he said, and it came down to, I said, look, you know what, we don't know, you don't know me, I don't know you, we're just going to have to go on trust here. You're in our apartment. And he said, I feel a bit strange, I've got a bit of anxiety, and I've met some weirdos around town, and I said, look, okay, so we're friendly, and, you know, if you don't feel comfortable at any point, you feel free to leave. And I think that made him feel, he was on high alert, yet trying to relax. And Michelle said, and he had very sore feet. His feet were killing him. They were really bad. And Michelle offered to administer some care to his feet. He was a bit reluctant toward that. And I said, look, you can take a shower if you want. He said, that will make. He said that would make him vulnerable to attack if he had a shower. And so I said, yes, I understand. We understand this. We understand that. Anyway. And we ended up retreating to our bedroom, which we cornered off with sheets and towels. It was an awkward night, and at one point, because he had all his clothes in the washing machine, all of his stuff, his bag, everything, stuff I wouldn't have even bothered washing. And at one point I came out and I said to him, it's time for you to turn the dryer on now. Time for you to turn the dryer on. And he went, okay. And it was his response was almost like, I don't want to obey you. Anyway, the next morning it was about 8 a.m. Might have been 7 a.m. There was a knock on the door. I was like, honestly, I thought it's the police looking for Austin, looking for this guy. And he opened the door, and it was a maintenance guy. They said, "Hey, how you going? We're going to check this thermostat." And I'm like, bad timing. I didn't say that. So I said, "Yeah, come in." Austin's on a lounge asleep. These guys are coming in. I'm being hospitable to them, and so they're going at work, which I hadn't realised wasn't working, but the thermostat wasn't working because I couldn't figure it out. And so Eliar, he was a fantastic coach. I've got to do a review for him. He had sent them, and so in the middle of all this, Austin decides to, set up, wake up, cook him a bit of breakfast, and Michelle said she had ordered. We had to wait till these guys eventually left. The maintenance guys were very good. They fixed it all up. But they're probably thinking 3 people in here, and it's like it was just awkward. And anyway, so Michelle, she said, "I'm going to do your deal. I'm going to do something. We thought he would have been up at 8 a.m. wanting to get out the door and go buy his sneakers. We didn't leave till 10 a.m. The day was wasting away." And so what happened was, Michelle said, "I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to put you up in a hostel for 3 nights, right? And you're going to buy your shoes. Put you up in a hostel for 3 nights, okay? Now, if someone was to offer that to me, I'd be like, oh, yeah. Like, if I was in that particular situation, which actually was years ago, I was in a situation like 14 years ago now, where I was homeless for about a fortnight here in Sydney. My sister took me in for a couple of nights, and then so I stayed at a friend's place for a few nights, and eventually went back home. We booked a hostel for him. Michelle said, "Go down there, you get them to ring me, I'll pay for it over the phone." But that was a bit too complicated for him. We sort of had to usher him out because we're going to get on with our day. Walked down Hollywood Boulevard, past Manstein's Theatre, I got stuck again with them. Those fuckers, those hustlers there, because we were walking slow, and they come up and practically attacked me. "Hey man, my CD!" I threw $4 at the guy. So this is part of the story last time, because I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about this stuff. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm worth more than that. What are you doing? That's rude." I'm like, "Ah." I threw the $4 at him and walked off. Anyway, I'm getting moody because, quite honestly, this was all interfering with our time. This guy Austin, he was streetwise. He was streetwise in a sense, but geez, he made some stupid decisions. Anyway, we got further down the boulevard, and we were stopped. I said, "We're going to get on with our day. We have to." I said, "Austin, go down to the bungalow." Michelle said, "Get down to the bungalow. Get them to call me. I'll pay for your accommodation." We went on a tour that day. Now, I was expecting that within about 90 minutes, Austin would call Michelle and say, "See, I wouldn't have extended my charity that far. Gave me a few bucks for sneakers. That's about it." But Michelle feels very charitable, and she's good. She does very charitable things that way. And so 90 minutes later, I'm going to turn the stove off. Continue, Pat. Let me turn the stove off. Okay. Have I got a fresh cup of tea then? No, I don't. So, 2 hours went by, and I thought, Austin should have called. I said to myself, Austin should have called your bunny house. She's like, "I know. And he should be in that hostel." As it turns out, we received a call from him at 8 p.m. that night. And she said, that's it, I'm cutting him off, that's it, I've extended my charity to him, I gave him a deal, I gave him an opportunity. He calls that night at 8 p.m. He says, he's very vague, not feeling urgent or panicked as one might be in that situation. He said, hi. I said, what's going on? He said, yeah, just about. I'm just down at Western. He said, I was in the valley today. I'm like, are you? We haven't heard from you. The hostel. He said, I haven't got there yet. I got distracted, and we're like, what the bloody hell? I said, no, you're supposed to call us 7 hours ago. And he said, I got distracted, but I may get onto it tomorrow. And then he hinted at Michelle. He said, I'm very cold tonight. I don't have anywhere to go. And Michelle said, we're in for tonight. We're having our own time tonight. She said, she said, that's it. He went, oh, okay. And then he said, tomorrow, first thing, I'm going to go to the hostel. And she said, and we said, okay. And then I think he said to me, because Michelle was on the phone call, I wasn't, and he said, I think I talked to him for about 20 seconds. That's pretty to the point. And then he said, I'm going to get, there's a gym near here. I'm going to get a membership. It's a 24-hour gym, and I'll just sleep in there. And we were like, okay. We wanted our private time. We wanted private time. We just wanted private personal time. And so I think the next day he called again and said hi. He was very vague. Every time that he called, it was vague. And he said, we said, have you got to the hostel yet? He said, they don't accept international people. I said, well, try another one. He tried another one, and he said, yeah. So I've been getting distracted. I said, do you have any shoes? Do you have no shoes? Did you buy some shoes? He went, no, not yet. It was infuriating, really infuriating, very frustrating. Tried to help this kid out, right? And I think probably most other people would have went and bought a pair of shoes and booked themselves into a hotel. He didn't do anything of the sort. He said, I just keep getting distracted. I was on a bus and I went, he said, I was on a bus and I went here, I went there. And he said, but he was so vague, it's like, what the fuck? What the bloody hell? When we got out to Vegas, and Michelle was getting pretty fed up with the situation, as was I. Received another phone call from him, and she said, you're going to check in, well, that's it. You just check into somewhere. Have you got shoes yet? No. I had a very stern word with him. Like I said, look, because she was going to vouch for him, I said, Michelle's got a good name. I've got a good name. You go against us. That's it, right? Because we're getting fed up with the situation. He said, I understand. And I said, go and do these things. And then, but he didn't hang up the phone. He did not hang up the phone properly, so I could hear the conversation that was taking, like, I eavesdropped in on his conversation, and I heard him say to someone, all we have to do, we're walking together, okay, walking together, put them on, and we just walk out casually, alright? And someone else said, are you sure? He said, yeah, I've done this before. And it's like, what the fuck? And we listened in on the conversation for quite a while. That was it. Done. Finished. The next day Michelle sent him a long text giving him a big piece of her mind, and I said, she wrote a few paragraphs. I said I would have had that as about six sentences, but it's okay because she wanted to express herself on it, and he pretty much had thrown it back in our face, and we cut all ties. He'd taken our time and had not gone with our suggestions. back in LA, when we got the Greyhound bus back to LA. How am I doing for time? Am I okay? Let me just see if I'm doing okay for time. 20 minutes. Oh, yeah. Huh. I actually wanted to take a total of about 30 minutes with all this, and that's probably going to work out nicely, I think. I thought I don't want to take an hour on this. And usually I will sometimes film at night, or usually sometimes go down to the garage for this, but I thought, you know what, as Michelle's coming home today, I'm thinking about driving to Gosford to get her, or driving to Central. But anyway, back to LA. Got back there on the 14th via the coach. Back to the same apartment, 1724 West Hollywood. And I went out for a walk that night on Hollywood Boulevard, nice walk, and then down to Sunset. I walked. I think that night I must have walked all the way to the Whiskey, and then back again, and then to Ralph's. I was coming back from Ralph's with some groceries when I saw there was a woman on the corner of Fuller and Hollywood Boulevard, an Asian-looking woman in her 40s. And I just said, hello. And she went, hi. She said, excuse me. She said, is there a chance that I could give it a couch that I can crash on? And I'm like, maybe. She went, okay. And I'm like, look, just give me a few minutes, okay? I went back to the apartment. I said to Michelle, I said, I'm back. I was going to tell her about my adventure. Yeah, my adventure. And then I said, there's a situation down the corner. There's a woman. She's needing a place to stay for the night. Michelle said, bring her up here. I said, I want you to come down and meet her first. I just want you to verify and I want you to meet her first. She said, oh, just bring her back. She said, she just brought her back. I'm like, so I coerced Michelle to put on some, because she was in evening attire, bed attire, and I coerced Michelle out of the apartment, walked down to the corner, and 10 seconds later Michelle said, yep, come on up. We had chatted a few. Her name was Jane, an Asian woman who denied that she was Asian. And I said, you seem cool. She's like, yeah. She's putting on a nice front, which she managed to keep up for about an hour before some of her true colours were coming through. Anyway, got her back to the apartment. We sat down and I invited her for a drink. I said, would you like to have I had bought some beverages. And she said yes to a margarita. And she seemed pleasant at first. Also high maintenance. Wasn't carrying that much baggage. About an hour into the conversation, things started to tip the other way. She started becoming a bit argumentative, especially in her conversation with Michelle. I mean, I'm sitting here, Jane's there, Michelle's there, so they're on the couch, I'm on the chair adjacent. I noticed that some of the things I was saying she was completely dismissing, wouldn't answer me on, and just turned straight back to Michelle. And it was becoming semi-argumentative with Michelle, and we both felt it. And then I said, I said, oh, whereabouts did you grow up? She said, I'd rather not say. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. She said, I'd rather not say. And she said, I'm not Asian. I'm like, oh, you appear to be Asian. She said, I'm not Asian. Okay. She was Asian. And I was like, red flag. I'm like, this is not good. I'm like, and then she said, do you know what? She said, I said, have you done this before? Often. She said, do you know what? She said, I've got this rock star guy who's stalking me. And I'm like, who's stalking who? And then she said, out of the 500 couches I've stayed on, I have to say that there's not been one bad experience. You know, and in retrospect, right, yeah, they figure you out. Most guys figure you out in about 2 days, or within about 24 hours. They figure you out. It takes them maybe 2 days, and then you get the boot. Because she stayed in the couch overnight. In the morning, I got up in the morning. Michelle got up for me, and we said, Michelle said, I've offered Jane one more night. I'm like, okay, one more night, okay, but that's when everything felt wrong, because she was not being very grateful or thankful. And, oh, that's right. I wanted to go out. Jane wanted to go shopping at Ralph's. How am I doing for time? Because it cuts out after half an hour. 25 minutes. Oh, right. We're doing okay. And I said, how long do you think you'll be? And Jane said, about 2 hours. I'm like, no, Ralph's is just down the road. He says, like, I know, but I like to take my time in shopping. And I'm like, you've got 20 minutes. She went, so I take 2 hours. I'm like, I'll do it for you. She was like, I said, tell me what you want. I'll get it for you. And I pretty much said it like that. I said, this is precious time. I said, you know, we want to start our day. We want to do things. And we want to make the most of it. She was like, and I said, I'll get it for you. What do you want? She told me what she wanted. She wanted 2 bottles of Coke, M&Ms, and something else. I said, back in 15. Actually, it took me 20 minutes. I went down there, got them, came back. 2 big bottles of Coke, M&Ms, but I got the wrong flavour. She said, oh, I didn't want that. I wanted the other ones. And she said, those bottles are too big. I can't drink out of those. I'm like, I got your Coke and M&Ms. She didn't say, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. She said, I can't eat those. They're the wrong ones. I can't drink those. They're too big. I can't carry those. I'm like, we left her there in the apartment for the day. So we're going to go out. So we actually left her there and went out. Where did we go that day? We got a bus down to Beverly Hills. We got a bus down to Beverly Hills that day. We went over to Santa Monica, Beverly Hills into Westwood. We ended up in Westwood, and then we went to Santa Monica, and we came back from Santa Monica and alighted near the Rainbow, and the bus made a sudden jolt, and so I had some stunt activity and landed on both knees on the bus floor, which hurt. Not exactly the entrance, not exactly what I wanted to do just before walking into the Rainbow. And also on my mind, is Jane doing anything weird in our apartment? And Michelle was like, nah, she's fine. And we discussed Jane at length, but didn't take up all of our day. And time, because this only goes for half an hour. It's 27-minute mark. And so landed on both knees on the bus floor. A couple of people reacted. I said, oh, that hurt. Michelle was beside herself. Michelle was like beside herself. She was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I said, people said, oh, I'm fine. They were like, people, half of them were like, some were like, no one actually physically said anything. No one actually verbally said anything. It was like, some were like, some were a bit glazed over. And anyway, got out of the bus, felt a bit moody, felt extremely sad. We went across the road to the Rainbow, walked into the Rainbow, excellent service at the Rainbow, excellent service. And then walked to the Whiskey afterwards, but we decided not to go in. We went over to this other bar instead, which was a kinky bar and an erotica bar, and we went in there for a while. We ended up getting back to the apartment at, I think, midnight or 1 a.m. and Jane seemed asleep, and we went to bed. Got up in the morning and had to assertively usher Jane out. She was not being too cooperative. Michelle offered Jane a few nights in a hotel. Okay, so I've started the camera again. The morning that we were really kind of fed up with her by this time. I got up and we wanted to be out there at 9. She was asleep, so I kind of banged and crashed in the kitchen to wake her up. She still wouldn't get vertical, and then said, I said, Jane, breakfast. And she went, oh, okay. And I took it over to her, kind of as nicely as I could. She went, oh, I don't want that. And I'm like, we're getting really fed up with her at this point. And then I said, we've got to go. We'll leave soon. She went, oh, okay. Oh. And Michelle organised her a stay at a hotel, and she was like, oh, okay. And we assertively ushered her out. I said, you can take your bowls of cake? She's like, no, I can't take those. You bought me the wrong ones. They're too heavy to carry. I can't. I'm like, I ended up giving them to a street person. I was very grateful because we don't drink Coke. I don't drink Coke. And we ushered her out, walked her out, down to the bus stop. And Michelle said, are you going to be okay? She's like, oh, I'll find my way down to this hotel. She wasn't like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the roof over my head. Thank you for putting me up for the night, for the 2 nights. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm going to go down to this hotel and check in. None of that. She was like, oh, okay. And then we got to the bus stop, the 217 bus stop. And the bus came along a few minutes later. And I said, all right. I said, Jane, farewell. I got on the bus. Michelle got on the bus. Jane did not get on the bus. And we went to, that day was the day we walked along Franklin Avenue. And that was we went to the observatory. And then the dash bus down to Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard where they split off, and the number 2 back. And we got home that evening, and of course we had discussed Jane, but we didn't let her take up all of our day, but we did vent somewhat, and that, she'd been hustling us, and sweet, we wasn't much of a sweetheart, but we said, how many other people does she do this to, and people will probably figure her out in about a day takes him a few, like, she plays on guys, and after about 24 hours the guy's like, this ain't right, I figure you out, goodbye. And so she hops from couch to couch to couch, and she said, I'm being stalked by a rock star. Yeah, who's stalking who? We get back to the apartment that evening. I'm in the kitchen, about an hour goes by, I'm in the kitchen, and I'm sort of venting about Jane, I'm expressing about Jane, because that's what we're doing a bit. And there's a knock at the door. I'm like, oh, it's Elia. It's Elia. It's our host, Elia. I open the door. It's Jane. I'm like, I didn't even try to save face. I was like, and my first words were like, my first words were, how did you get past the security gate? She said very casually, oh, someone let me in. I'm like, what are you doing here? And she said, oh, the accommodation didn't work out. Michelle's booking didn't go through. They didn't accept her details. And I'm like, I was like that. I think all colour drained from my face. I'm like, because we're trying to make the most of our time there, okay? And we will help people out to a certain extent. Very happy to help people out. Very happy to do that, and within reason. And our host Ellie, he was in the apartment adjacent to us, so I didn't want too much conversation in the hallway. And I said, hold on a minute. And so I closed the door. I said to Michelle, I said, it's Jane. She's out there. It's Jane. She's like, and Michelle. And so we scrambled to get ready, because we just scrambled to get ready to. And then I opened the door, let her in. She sat down. She went on and on about. She said, the booking didn't work out. Something went wrong. Your details are wrong. She wasn't like, I'm so sorry to impose on you again. I'm so sorry to turn up like a seeming stalker. None of that. Very casual, unnervingly casual. And she said, it didn't work out. Can you fix it? And Michelle's like, so Michelle spent half an hour on the phone trying to figure out through booking.com, and all the while Michelle said, you're at the kitchen bed, you're like this, and you're getting very frustrated, Pat. I'm like, I said, we've had enough of this. And Jane went, oh, well, oh. I said, and she went, looked at me like this, she went, I said, Jane, we've had enough of this. Michelle doesn't have to do this anymore. And Michelle said, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do it. And then Jane simply, I said, that's it. I said, we want to get on with our evening. And then Jane said, so you can help me? And I'm like, I said, that's it. I said, we're going to get on with our evening. She's like, oh, okay then. And Michelle said, I've done a lot. I've tried to help you, but I want my own time now. And Jane's like, oh, okay. Okay then. Jane left. I walked her out. I should have walked her out outside, but I didn't. And she went all the way. I wasn't thinking correctly. I should have been like alert to this. Anyway, Jane said something to me, but then I walked back into the apartment. I said, Michelle. She said something to me. I got to find out what I said. I went back out. I went, Jane. I turned around and she came in and I said, can you just tell me what your last sentence was? I didn't get the last part. She said, oh, just tell Michelle not to buy any of my paintings. I don't want her to buy any of my paintings from my website. I'm like, okay. And I said, farewell. I said, farewell. She went, okay. I went back inside to Michelle. I said, Jane says, please don't buy any of her paintings from her website. She doesn't want you to. And Michelle's like, huh? She's like, what paintings? Oh, she mentioned some paintings to me. She said, Jane would rather that you did not buy any of her paintings. Michelle's like, okay. And she was like, so I went inside and I said, what the bloody hell was that? What the bloody hell was that? What was that? And I'm like, I'm freaked out by that. I said, I'm freaked out. I said, I feel like we're being stalked. I'm like, how the hell did she remember the address? How the hell did she remember the level that we were on? And because we were walking, you had to get the elevator up to the 3rd level. And then you went out of the elevator to the left and to the left down the corridor, and that's where we were. But if you hadn't been there too many times, like, you wouldn't know. I mean, she must have memorized that or something. Because we've just been somewhere once, because you're not necessarily going to remember it. But she got in, got the elevator up, and then, I mean, she remembered where we were. My goodness. It was the rest of the evening, well, it was a bit unsettling. Well, tried to relax. Didn't see Jane again after that. My goodness. My goodness. And I think all because on the way back with the groceries from Ralph's, I said, hello. And then she's like, hi. She said, excuse me, can I have do you have a spare couch I can crash on for tonight? And I'm like, maybe, give me a few minutes. Yeah. Oh, and when she did not look homeless. Jane was well kept, very well kept. She did not look homeless. Her clothes were clean. Her feet weren't sore. She looked like she had accommodation. She was well dressed. Because when Michelle and myself were discussing this, I said, she didn't look like she was homeless. Michelle said, no, she did not. I said, she's not down and out at all. She was well kept, well fed, well kept, well watered, hydrated. I said, she did not look homeless. I said, we said, geez, she's bloody hopping from one couch to the next, mostly guys, and, oh, that's right on the corner. I said to her, I'm just going to go back and check with my partner. And she said, oh, I'm going to go back and check with Michelle. She's like, oh, okay. And I didn't really think about that at the time, but reflecting back, I'm like, oh, I mentioned, mentioned my partner, and she's like, oh, partner, right. So she managed to be on her best behaviour for about 1 hour, and then after that she became quite argumentative. Oh, yeah, she did. She became quite argumentative, and I would say something to her, and she would dismiss it. And yeah, she was not. She was well kept. And yes, so I thought I would speak about this today, and then I'm going to get on with my day now. Okay. And I've taken about as much time with this as I want to. As I've taken 40 minutes. Right, I've taken 40 minutes. I've taken about as much time as I intend to, want to. I've taken about 40 minutes. The battery is blinking on and off. I'm finished with this story. Okay. All right then. Thanks for watching. Okay.